is NBC Montana Today.
Good morning, Montana. I'm Jason Hurst. As you pour your coffee and make breakfast, let's get you informed and ready to take on your Friday. Coming up over the next half hour, learn how the tariff increase in Mexico impacts local ranchers. Potomac rancher shares concerns. Plus, a major makeover project under the Bear Tracks Bridge in Missoula wraps up. The big reveal and what area is next. Plus, learn what your community can do to reduce conflict with grizzly bears.
And it is 6:31 a.m. Good morning, Butte. You're going to see temperatures making it up to about 30 by lunchtime with those mostly cloudy conditions in place. Meanwhile, here over in Kalispell, looks like our camera stopped working there, but it'll make it up to about 37 as we get into 12 p.m. with those cloudy skies. As we go through today, we're going to see highs in the 30s and 40s, 37 in Bozeman, 36 in Butte, 42 in Missoula, and 41 in Kalispell. And mostly cloudy skies are looking to remain the trend. But coming up here in just a little while, I'm going to be timing out some rain so that you know what you can expect next.
We begin with our top story. An investigation continues after a shooting in Dixon injures 2 people. The Sanders County Sheriff reports the suspect is in custody. The shooting happened early Thursday morning just before 1 outside the Dixon bar. Officers located 2 victims at the scene, but the suspect fled on foot. Thanks to a tip, officers located the suspect Thursday afternoon. 1 victim is in critical condition. The other victim went to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. We will keep a close eye on this story, so stay tuned with NBC Montana for fresh updates on air and online. Out of Potomac, uncertainty looms as a group of local ranchers travel to Mexico to discuss beef exports. The Montana Beef Council, in conjunction with the U.S. Meat Export Federation, sent the group. The federation focuses on marketing U.S. beef to other countries, including Japan, China, and Africa. Every U.S. exporting producer pays into the marketing efforts that help U.S. farmers sell their products worldwide. Both Mexico and Canada have ties to the beef industry in Montana, with Mexico making up for $1.2 to $1.3 billion in beef sales yearly. Canada has cattle feedlots in Montana and then take them to Canada for processing. The Federation was attending a massive meat trade show in Mexico when President Trump implemented the 25% tariff.
As we were speaking, the gentleman said, listen, we don't know where things are going to go quite yet. My presentation was accurate a half an hour ago. It's no longer accurate. So we're waiting for the ball to stop bouncing. But as it looks right now, any agricultural products that were covered, and products in general, exports to Mexico, anything covered under U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement should be untouched with the new tariffs.
The U.S. provides meat to markets all around Mexico, from prime rib to tongue and liver. Iverson says these variety meats make up the largest part of the $1.2 billion worth of meat Mexico buys. The Federation exported over $10 billion in beef worldwide last year. Residents of a housing project in Bozeman joined forces to demand better treatment from their landlord. NBC Montana's Brianna Carroll reports.
Bridger Heights Tenants, we got your back.
Last year, residents of Bridger Heights formed a tenants union in response to what they called unsafe living conditions in these units. Now, for the second time in 6 months, these tenants are protesting the actions of their landlord, this time claiming they're being threatened with illegal evictions.
In our homes, we're staying.
Residents of 9 units claim they received eviction notices demanding thousands of dollars in unpaid rent. Tenants say this is money they do not owe and that their ledgers are incorrect.
This was the first time I heard about this huge balance I owe, and the math wasn't adding up. Instead of making an effort to work it out with me, they stated I need to be gone yesterday. That ain't right.
That ain't right.
Some residents with Section 8 vouchers believe the inaccurate ledgers may be related to issues with recertification, as the property currently has no on-site manager to handle the process. Others think the notices could be retaliation for speaking up.
They know at this point that I've been talking about them on the news. They know at this point that we've been organizing against their corporation to stop with the unfair treatment of tenants.
Montana state law requires landlords to provide tenants with a written notice to vacate and give at least 3 days notice to tenants before evicting on the basis of non-payment. But 3 residents claim they were given only until the end of the business day to pay, and 2 say their only notification was this voicemail.
This is Robin calling from 11 Residential for Bridger Heights Apartments. I am calling regarding your past due balance of $1,970.64. Unfortunately, if payment is not made in full today, we will have no other option but to send your account over to the attorney to start the eviction process.
Tenants say they've had trouble getting a hold of anyone with 11 Residential, the company that owns Bridger Heights. I called the number left in the voicemail and was also unable to get a response. When asked for comment, Tom Daniels, Executive Vice President of 11 Residential, told me that he was unaware of the situation.
Not 1 cent for the slumlords! Not 1 cent!
The Bridger Heights Tenant Union is demanding that 11 Residential drop the alleged illegal evictions immediately. They're also calling on the city of Bozeman to protect vulnerable residents by enacting tenant right to counsel.
I want to see tenants be able to have legal representation when they need it. I want to see more fair housing practices.
Reporting in Bozeman, Brianna Carroll, NBC Montana.
A project to transform the area under Missoula's Bear Tracks Bridge in downtown wraps up. The 2-year project features new picnic tables, a basketball hoop, bike racks, table tennis, and cornhole boards. Local artist Ann Karp of Sideways Gaze added artwork on the ground and pillars to brighten the space. Another project includes newly painted dumpsters at Caras Park. Those dumpsters will roll out later today. Also, the Spring Caras Park Canopy campaign will raise funds to replace the pavilion canopy in Caras Park. Montana is grizzly bear country, and towns can now apply for grant funding to reduce conflicts. The Montana Community Bear Conflict Efforts Fund is offering up to $1 million. Now, to work with communities to educate the public and adopt bear-resistant efforts. This includes bear-resistant garbage cans and food storage lockers, electric fencing, and more. Communities can apply for a minimum of $10,000 up to $150,000 total. The application deadline for the first round of funding is March 24th. 2 big wins in court for hundreds of thousands of fired government workers. It's the latest setback for President Trump's efforts to slash the federal workforce. And it comes as a key Senate Democrat changes his mind on a potential government shutdown. And while the Trump administration threatens new taxes on popular imported goods and the stock market spirals in response, NBC's Alice Barr is in Washington with the latest.
In a sweeping ruling overnight, a federal judge in Maryland ordered thousands of fired federal workers across 21 agencies and departments be temporarily reinstated, finding the mass firings were unlawful and not based on employee assessments, writing that when firing someone for unsatisfactory performance, quote, the employer must honestly be dissatisfied with the probationer's conduct or performance after giving him a fair trial on the job. It's the latest instance of the courts checking the Trump administration as Democrats in Congress struggle for a strategy. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer now saying he will support House Republicans' short-term funding bill to prevent a government shutdown.
The alternative is worse.
The bill needs support from Democrats to pass, and Leader Schumer previously said the votes weren't there, now saying he believes the Trump administration wants a shutdown.
They could cut half the government. They could tell employees you're not essential and never bring them back. That's the problem. There is no check on them with this shutdown.
Others arguing it's time to take a stand against cuts already tearing through the government.
You're not going to throw 83,000 workers off the Veterans Administration. You're not going to cut the Social Security staff.
All amid stock market volatility and recession fears as the Trump trade war keeps growing. President Trump threatening new 200% tariffs on European wine and spirits if the European Union doesn't drop its new levies that include American whiskey.
We're not going to be ripped off anymore.
Meetings with foreign leaders in the U.S. and Canada so far not yielding a step back from the brink. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Forecaster Brianna Henderson now joins us with your local weather update. Bree, what can you tell us this morning?
Well, I can tell you if the kids are headed out to the bus stop in Missoula, it's going to be cold, 26 and cloudy, warming up to about 41 by the afternoon hours, but be ready for cloud cover to continue. Meanwhile, over in Bozeman, we're going to also see some cloudy skies, 23 degrees, only really warming up to about 37 by the afternoon hours with those mostly cloudy skies. And coming up here in just a little while, I'm going to have a summary of the weather that you can expect through the coming days.
Coming up, we are in a basketball state of mind. Lots of postseason action taking place throughout the region. We get you all caught up, including coverage of Class AA in Bozeman. Plus, our team was in Missoula for Class B state basketball. Highlights are coming up after the break. And let's take a live look over Missoula above TV Mountain at Snowbowl from the Community Medical Center weather camera. And weather forecaster Brianna Henderson has your day planner right after the break.